Beloved, this is the Culture and Camaraderie podcast, Demo's thought-provoking, introspective, industrious, creative discussion with my man, Tiberius.
Wagi.
Gweezy.
Oh,
that was actually not tight at all,
miserable.
fam. That was with my lefty, but nobody knows because we're all audio. Yeah, fam.
Damn.
Wait.
We got topics today, man.
Give me a second.
We have bare topics today.
Oh yeah, can you subscribe to our Instagram and YouTube, please?
Yeah.
And make a comment.
YouTube.
Cause
everything else.
Yeah. I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, man. We want to chat. Actually, it'll be cool if we can start getting into chatting to you guys on the
fam.
on the pages.
Yeah. Should I follow everybody back?
People giving a bit more of their opinions on what we're talking about, getting a bit of interaction going.
Yeah, fam.
So that would be lit. But, yeah, man. Please go follow, like and subscribe. Oh my gosh. Have you seen what is his
and subscribe,
Unks.
my G.
Have you seen? Oh, what is his name?
Chunks.
No, Unks. Mad Unks. Have you seen that guy?
No, fam. Tell me about him.
Oh my gosh, it's just like this YouTuber who's like essentially viewed his uncle, and his uncle's like this funny guy. He's just a mad guy, and he's terrorizing his uncle.
That's nuts, fam.
Come on,
hey!
That was slick. But yeah, he terrorizes his uncle. But it's kind of funny. But there's just one thing where he duppies him with some talcum powder. And his uncle's reaction, because it comes out of nowhere, yeah? His uncle's reaction is just so funny. And the way he edits it is actually hilarious. But you need to watch that.
Yeah. And Maurice. Wait, Marla Juice.
I think so, yeah.
What's up? Moolah.
Moolah. Yeah.
Is that his spot? Moolah, fam? Mazzolini. Wow, he actually looks like a mad uncle, fam.
Yeah, it's so
he looks
funny.
like the uncle from Boondocks.
You gotta see it. It's kind of, and when he tells people to like and subscribe, he's like and subscribe. But you gotta see it. It's so funny. Yeah, it gets deep at times. When he done it with the talcum powder, I was a bit like, I feel bad for this guy. So bad.
Yeah, I'm about to see the video. Wow, his face looks a bit nuts.
It's hilarious.
Rati Darty. I want to see the videos.
Yeah, watch it afterwards. Watch it. I don't know.
Oh wow, that's it, fam. Moolah gang and everything. Yeah. All right. Got a nice shout out on our podcast. Our 20 listeners. I love it. Yo.
Yeah, but no. Do you know what? I wanted to come straight to podcast because I think a couple of podcasts back, I was speaking about Sir's album.
Yes.
And I was saying that, not that I didn't like it, but I just wasn't feeling it. And the thing is, yeah, if you listen to John Redcorn, look, I've listened to this song. Literally.
What number song is it?
Oh, man. It's song number 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. The one after Kendrick's one. Yeah, that one's wavy. I love that song.
That's literally my favourite song right now. I'm not lying when I say I've played that about over 50 times. And I first properly listened to it 2 days ago. I've listened to that Kendrick song like bears. Yeah, them two are my favourite on there, to be honest. Because you know what's sick about Sir, yeah? And because he's my favourite kind of songwriter, because people, when they write in a pocket in a certain way, and the way he'll do his melodies.
You mean like bouillabaisse? Bouillabaisse.
That's Damilare's new song is about to drop next week.
Yeah, I found a nice little pocket for myself, you know.
Bouillabaisse.
Yeah, see, it's catchy. Yeah, right.
That's a full-on jingle. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It needs to be on a.
Could be if anyone's selling, you know, pre-made bouillabaisse, holler me. I got you. You know what bouillabaisse is, right?
No, I don't have a clue.
It's a food, fam. Oh. It's like I don't want to call it an amuse-bouche because I'm not that deep with it yet. But I remember whenever I watched Saturday Kitchen Live in the mornings, yeah, man, they'd always do a nice little booyah bass.
Booyah bass. What? That sounds mad.
No, okay, so
yes. I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that.
Booyah bass. Oh wow.
It's because she was laughing when you said it into Siri. Anyway, let me get back on track. So
there we go.
What I like about Sir is just the way he writes in pocket in a certain way.
Look, see, it's a nice little soup, but it's got like clam soup. Base. Yeah, man.
It looks nice, actually. Seafood.
It is nice.
Seafood.
It's soup. Very nice, man.
Seafood stew.
Caribbeans make it a lot. Like,
traditional Provencal. Oh, it's French.
Yeah, that's why it's called bouillabaisse.
Bouillabaisse. It looks like that's what it looks like.
It's spelled bouillabaisse.
No, but
it's French.
Yeah, it's French. But as English speakers that's how we would probably pronounce it when we look at it. Would be a bouillabaisse. You know, bouillabaisse. Okay,
as a pronunciation expert, I see bouillabaisse and I'm like, that's exactly how it should be spelled.
That's fine, man. You can do that. But anyway, let me get back on track.
But bass is one word.
I'm over.
And booyah is another word. No, it's called a callback. So yeah, bouillabaisse. Okay. Yeah, man. Sir's album.
Man. Let me finish. But yeah, like there's people like him who are able to write in pocket in a certain way. Just the melodies, like the way they'll use lyrics. Yeah.
Bouillabaisse.
Look, just get over it. Right? There's certain ways that they're able to write, like the way. Oh man, just the way. When someone's very conscious of how they use the syllables with the lyrics and just the melodies.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, there's a certain way some people do it. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, fam.
That just knows how to do it properly. You know what I mean? He'll make it cool. Because the thing is, he's written for people like Jill Scott, who's like very big and, like, you know what I mean? Like a big voice. It's a lot of drama. But even with that song, Still Blue, yeah, that one bangs.
Still Blue.
Yeah, that's hard. And you know when it goes from Wire's Way, when it leaves out in the headphones, it sounds mad. Because the song leaves out of the left headphone.
Yeah.
And it comes back in on the right.
Yeah, I promise
it's like
you, yeah.
Still Blue. Like everything about that. It was just subtly.
Yeah, it was put together well. I think Kendrick executive producer, and I don't know what is going on, but like Kendrick is seemingly an elite executive producer of albums.
Yeah, but if you look at the way he does his his albums are great.
And it's like getting a bit nuts, fam. It's like
he's the guy.
Like,
it's interesting. All those guys have just got their own spots and pockets and lanes, and it's cool.
There's another guy apart from Sir. Who's the other one?
What, on the same label?
Yeah.
Singer, not vocalist like that.
Yeah, no.
Azira Shah dropped a tune. That sounded kind of hard. That guy's sick as well. He's the same guy. He's this guy who the way he's, well, I guess he raps, so it's a bit different. Well, but
yeah, no, it's not even different. It's literally that, because like what you're saying is that Sir writes like a rapper. Like when you talk about syllables
for real.
and all of that stuff.
Yeah, he does. I think that's very true. Yeah.
Because it's really like it's really rapper-esque
it's like
just perform, because when you're performing your lyrics in a certain way, it elevates it. Like, but it all depends on, like, because right now it's like certain people don't have voices, but they've got this type of, like, you know how SZA like sings her songs in like an accent, and how Georgia sings her song in an accent. Like, there's those type of artists out right now. But when you've got like I guess like Bryson Tiller as well, where it's like you write it on a beat and it's like it flows a different type of way, and it's more, it's got like would I say a timbre to it? It's just got a rhythm, and it's like upbeat. Well, it depends on which type of song it is, but it's just one of those ones where it's like, it's not you're singing over a track, you're singing with the track.
Yeah, Bryson Tiller's a bit weird though, because I feel like, he's not. I would say his melodies are sick. I wouldn't say like, he's like a mad songwriter though.
Yeah, I'm talking about his
just sonically.
his ability, his occlusion to just beats, to singing over a track, because he raps as well, and that's the same thing with Black. But like those people aren't singers. Like they don't have like the range. Like I could call myself a singer. I'm singing like they do, but I'm not, obviously. I'm a songwriter myself. But yeah, actually I wrote a couple of songs, you know.
I was about to do one right now.
Yeah, man, booyah bass. Booyah bass.
I'm finished. Oh my gosh. Alright, that's the theme tune, guys, right? We got a theme tune. We have a full-on theme tune. We have a full-on theme tune. Oh my gosh. I'm excited.
See? And can you change the times up? Yeah. But yeah. No, because actually, if I'm going to be serious about it, really, it's what happens is that I come up with these like because obviously I'm gonna start learning the trumpet soon, but obviously before that,
if you've actually got a trumpet, this is gonna be wild.
I'm getting.
If you actually start learning one, do you know
I'm
what?
saving up £250 from after my book drops to, get a trumpet.
Good man. Yeah, no.
But yeah, like £250, I can do that. You know, maybe like June-ish time or something, I'll have a trumpet by then. But yeah,
I'm starting.
I come up with these mad, like, I just come up with like these
ideas.
I wouldn't call them, no, because they're loops. They're loops. They're like in bars. There's like bars of 8, and it's like I just start humming them, and then like obviously I hum them in, because once I figured out the trumpet is my instrument, I started performing in that way. So you know how like when people would do like the air guitar, they'd strum whatever, but it's like they're not really hitting like any of the chords or anything like that. But with a trumpet, I just have this natural inclination just through listening to Miles Davis and John Coltrane and all of that stuff. It's like, and even Takuya Kuroda, I mean, just like after this long time of like just listening to horns, I just now like perform and hum in a certain way that's like for the horn. And yeah, and like I've only just started recording myself doing it, but I've been doing it for time. But now it's like one of those moments when I'm getting struck by it, I actually perform in a horn fashion, and then I write to that beat. So it's either sometimes I use it as a percussion instrument, or I use it as a melodic instrument. So, and the two can work in tandem sometimes. So
yeah, you're gonna have to get yourself a little trumpet, man.
It's actually,
I've always wanted to learn sax. Like sax is one of my, is my favorite brass instrument. But I think the things that instruments I actually want to like learn just to like, well, I want to learn bass to a basic level, bass guitar, but keys I want to go in on doing keys. Learn to read music.
Don't you know keys already?
I do, but not like.
Well, you got a MIDI.
I can. It's like I was saying before. Like I can find the key to a song. I can find the major and minor key. I like all the major and minor key signatures, just because of the little formulas and stuff I've learned, and just like, in the spaces between semitones and that.
Yeah.
And I know how to find chords within those keys. Like just basic chords. I don't know all the inversions in those in each key, but like I know how to find the chords, and I can find those chords. But like what I need to get better at doing is I need to learn more chords, and I need to like get a better understanding of the relations of play. It's like playing is so different from understanding certain chords. But my chord,
what do you mean?
Understanding of chords needs to get, but because playing is the performance.
Yeah.
Understanding the chords, you can you can understand music theory, you can understand how chords are built, you can understand all the extensions, all the inversions, but if you haven't like practiced playing it, that's a completely different story. Like, so
you want them in tandem.
Well, yeah, but even with my knowledge of like music theory, like, it's not even necessarily that I'm trying to like get sick at music theory. I just need to broaden, because music's just a language, isn't it? And each chord is a different word. So the broader and more in depth your understanding of, because all the chords are as well, a chord by itself isn't really, and this is what I've started to get to grips with, obviously it's all about contrast. So each chord is only means something in relation to another chord. It's like you might hear a way a certain song goes and it doesn't really give you a certain feeling until it changes to something that you may not even expected, but it works, and the dissonance is like just enough, you know what I mean? It's like you're pushing and pulling away from, you've got your key signature and you might come and dip in and out, and that's why it's like that circle of fifths is a whole madness, because you can be dipping in and out of different keys. But like, there's a song, I think it's a John Coltrane song. What is it called? Do you know that song where it's like the hardest jazz song to play? What is it? Because it just goes around the circle of fifths, but it goes through all from one to another, and he's like just playing his chords. Like, sorry, I just mashed the mic. But he's playing all the chords going around. I have to find what song it is. But that is like the prime example of how well the circle of fifths can work together. And it's like playing. It's the whole song is just basically playing on that line of being in and out of key, but it's like just the tempo of it, the way it swings. Apparently it's just really hard to play, but it's like just getting a better understanding.
Yeah, John Coltrane on the saxophone, Giant Steps.
Yeah, there we go, Giant Steps. Yeah, and it's literally because it's going jumping between all the different.
Yeah, it's even got a circle of fifths around them as well.
Yeah,
earworm. Yeah. Oh, what's that? What's the jazz note again? Like because there's this one thing that I learned, like, because obviously like jazz is like the last great it's like the last great music genre sort of thing, like the last great defining composition. So it's like they had the most complex compositions created in jazz, just like they did with Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, all of those type people. They had like the classical compositions, and the new classic of last century was jazz. And obviously we're gonna come up with the second classic, because obviously I'm learning an instrument now. I'm gonna revolutionize music and stuff. So yeah, like, and just like this, it's called this jazz note. So basically, I think the way I hear it is that you go up in notes or in keys. What's it called? I don't know which one it is. Yeah. But you scale up, and for some reason, like, and it makes people's ears pop, basically, because you're putting so much energy and ferocity within the playing.
You mean key change?
Fam, it's called the jazz note. Like, literally, you can look it up yourself if you're listening. The jazz note. Wait, the blue note. That's it. It's called the blue note in jazz. So, and I don't know what it is, but it's the hardest thing to do.
Is someone played that slightly different pitch than the standard?
Jazz club.
Oh yeah, okay. The alteration between a quarter tone and a semitone. Wow, but it's very dependent on the musical context. So it's kind of just when it goes off tune, basically.
It sounds beautiful though. But the thing is, here's the thing. The point is the complexity, and people listen for the complexity.
It makes it off. Yeah. Well, that's
like,
what it is.
Because that's
a big part of what jazz is about. It's the dissonance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I was speaking to this girl like time ago. She was like a theatre performer. I think she was in her and a few of his friends. They were in Wicked, the show, and she was talking about she's like it's so mad, and she was a phenomenal singer, but it was different. Like when I say phenomenal, like her voice is, you know what I mean? She's holding that note like it's perfect. You get what I'm saying? But that's different from. It's because it's so clean and like tightly knit, boxed, and it's for a specific thing. You're not really necessarily gonna find an artist today that sings like that people are gonna be like. Well, you know what I mean? That's why it's like people in Disney, people in theatre performances, that's how they sing. But she was even saying it's like, it's so mad how it's like a lot of these people, they're singing off tune and off key, and it's because a lot of people, it's like when you hear someone like a Bryson Tiller, he's not really a singer, that's not a great example, but even like a lot of the singers that we're listening to today,
I was actually looking for female singers, like apart from her, which is like one of the best. Well, you could call her a musician, and I don't know what she is first. Well, she's a musician first because she started playing, I don't know, like 12 instruments or something from like 13, 14. No, she started playing 12 instruments when she was a kid. I was playing instruments when she was a kid, and she can play multiple instruments now. But it's like her singing. Well, it's her lyricism actually that I like more. And I'm actually like, because I like literally just yesterday I was thinking about who's a great singer today that makes songs and it's like can hit those notes and we applaud it because we're applauding creativity now, which is cool, but it's like let's get back to basics. Yeah, it's like
but I also like, don't agree. No, because I
the
like
basics of greatness. Because everyone's a rapper now. This is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing. Everyone is a rapper now. Okay, everyone thinks that they could put poems together to a beat and call it a song.
But see why I disagree with you is because cream always rises to the top. Yeah, and that's why. For example, that's
the best of right now.
JPEG Mafia. He's a weird one because he's actually a good artist.
That's a nice transition. Yeah, no, he's a good artist. And that's the point. He's a good artist,
but this is my point. Is like, even though he's a great, literally, I wouldn't say he's like the best rapper in the world.
He's not the best rapper in the world.
He's not. But
his breath control isn't.
As an artist, actually, and he produces all his shit. Yeah.
Okay.
So all the beats, and you hear it. It's got that level of complexity where it's almost along the same lines.
It's tailored to him. This is the thing. Yeah. And I was wondering why it was like that because
but even just with the chords and the sounds and the arrangement of it, of the way he's arranged a tune, it's so free flowing and loose, and you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's a great example of someone
his music is ajar. This is the thing. It's ajar, and it's like there's like the discord between what is at 30 seconds and what is at 2 minutes, and like there's this like erratic play in between that.
But it's a jazz thing, isn't it? It's a jazz thing. It's like even he was saying, it's like it's not about. There is no form. There is no structure.
Well,
like, he's not trying to make us like
that. Is after the establishment of jazz. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
What he's doing is It's not classical jazz.
It's not jazz. It's the
the offshoot of jazz, which is like
But everything's
like that's the scutting and all of this stuff, and like
but that's
playing off key and doing all of these bouncing abouts and stuff like that.
That's literally the point we're making, though. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's all everything that exists the way it does now is because of jazz, really. Even all these rubbish off-key tunes where it's like Blue Veil Baby and he's off time, and it's like it's because it's a philosophical thing, really, when you think about it. It's the idea that you're putting an idea across with disregarding the boundaries of something like classical music, which is so stringent, and it's like it's
so complete now because it's absolute, like because almost everything has been done in
But isn't that an interesting
in
thing?
classical music, you need a literal creative genius who's been about it since they were like 6. And all of the people now that do music don't do music to be the best in music.
Yeah.
They're doing it to hit a lick, or the more complex one, to buffer their portfolio for whenever they go to university, and they can say, oh, I play an instrument, or I play this, or like to be more interesting. Like that's a lot of what they do in America. Like they teach their kids violin.
It's just extracurricular, so it's kind of like, I get what you mean.
Like,
it's
like exactly
CV thing. Like I was a part of all the extracurricular, you know.
Yeah, extracurricular.
I was part of like what's it called, a thingy house or whatever.
Yeah, it's called. It's nothing to do with like the art, and like. That's why I said you need a creative genius. You need someone who's about it and will never change for anybody else.
See, that's what's mad about jazz, because of the way its structure, its form, it's like and what it inspired. It literally inspired so much other sounds and genres and forms that classical music almost couldn't do to a certain extent. You know, like. Jazz,
they weren't allowed to do that in classical music, because classical music was
that's the point.
Was what's it called? It was commissioned by the super duper rich people.
That, and it's not going to fuss itself with the, you know what I mean, the common music. You know, it is what it is. It's an establishment. It's and it's funny with jazz, because jazz, especially even in now today, new UK jazz, is mixed with everything. It's rebounding itself off house music, off hip hop. You know what I mean? Off
Why do
soul.
people do that?
It's soul.
Why do people do that?
Because
why do people do that?
What?
Because I'm thinking, and obviously I keep moving about, and I'm off the mic, so I have to repeat everything 5 times. But I'm like, if everything started from jazz, like, because like, okay, let's say your favorite artist is, or the reason you're doing art in music is because of somebody, and the reason, you know, you play music or you perform music or you make music is because of this person or composition or song. Like, that person got it from someplace, but you're inspired by the person who done it. Like, here's the thing. The reason why I do what I do in the way that I do it is because I don't look for inspiration from things that have already been made. And I don't look for I don't seek the convention, because here this year, like, I don't know what I was listening to, but someone said that if you want to become a writer, you
only just got that. You're late, bro.
No, because I'm actually trying to complete a thought, and then Travis Scott started blaring in my head, like, and then I started. And no, the way it came into my head was so nuts, because it was like an echo from the back of my mind, and then the thing reverberated into my head. No, you don't need to change it, fam. I'm gonna keep it cool now. But that was a bit nuts. But yeah, someone said that becoming a writer, writers, I remember the name now. I remember where I got it from, but I don't want to like shit on him right now. But he said writers, you know, you study Shakespeare, and that's wrong. You don't, like, if you want to become a great playwright or a great storyteller, you don't study William Shakespeare. You don't study Disney work. You study great story. Like, no, who did William Shakespeare study? Who did he study? This is my point. Like, well, there's obviously an answer for that, because like
there's he didn't come up with the form of writing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's stories have been told literally for at least over 8,000 years since we could communicate. So that's probably millions of years. Like, from there's that thing over there, don't go to that place. You see, Mufasa and Simba, from that simple story where he's like, everything the light touches is yours or whatnot. That little line right there is the basis of a lot of story, because when you start talking about light and darkness and what can be yours and what is seen and what's unseen, like, that is the basis of a lot of not just story but human essence as well.
Well, and they say all stories are essentially the same, really, isn't it?
Well, like, they say at the core, all stories derive from the same cause or something, or like. But what I'm saying is that I didn't become great by studying William Shakespeare. I became great by studying story and dissecting story, not the facade of it. Like, and just like we were talking about Top Boy last week, when like we talk about the depth of story and the story within the story. So when we talk about these musicians, I wonder, because I'm not that type of person. Like me, I find the greatest person to do that's done something, and then I listen to them, and then I didn't start jazz with John Coltrane. I started it with Takuya Kuroda. Well, ish, but he's the first horn player that I listened to. And then I went to John Coltrane, and then I went to like everybody else, and then obviously that opens you up to like Miles Davis and you know, just everyone that's just great, right? Great singers, great songwriters. Let's start listening to Stevie Wonder, all of that stuff. And that's it. I listen to the greats and I'm like, okay, so that's what's been done here. And then you listen to Bach, listen to Frédéric Chopin is my favorite. Nocturne is my favorite, I should say. But Mozart is my favorite composer because of Requiem. Like, Benedictus is still one of my favorite songs. But the point is, like, I like, the question I've got is that why do people listen to people who get inspiration from a person that got inspiration from a person that got inspiration?
Because it's how knowledge is passed on. That's almost like and what's hard, and I get what you're saying, because you should look past the idolization of that person when underneath it there's principles. Like, you should be, I get it, like, but it's hard to separate that from which that in itself is a challenge, to separate that from which you are getting that inspiration from, that knowledge from. And it's like when you hear a song in a particular situation and it makes you feel a certain type of way. Yeah. You can't help but feel that emotion that you had when you first heard that song. Yeah. It's the same reason why I like garage so much. Yeah. Because I have very specific fond memories of being introduced to it. Car rides in the summer, you know, when that's playing, like parties that I'd go to with my dad and my family, like, you know, like things like that. Yeah. So because of that, that's where my musical flavour and taste has come from, like certain soul, R&B, gospel that would be at my my auntie's house. Yeah. So because of that, it's the same thing. Like, when you inspired by something, or there's a vibe or a feeling, and because that's why I'm like even the way I think about the way I create, that's why I actually now I want to understand the language of music better. That's how I'm viewing it, like speaking through it. Because when you say like you want to tell a story through music, to tell the story you have to understand the language of the thing of which you're trying to speak. Exactly. And it's the same thing with writing, with visual language. You need to understand color. And it sounds so crazy. It sounds so obvious, but how
no, there's
a certain color makes
there's a
you
reason why
feel
boys
how
are
a certain
blue
color
and girls are pink. There's a reason for that, but obviously it got lost in translation, and everyone thinks it's like this whole gender war. But like pink is fertility, and blue is utility. So
that's interesting.
That's why there's
a whole language to it.
That's why almost every single, some of the best apps have a blue background, because this is the utility. You want to go here for utility. It's the color for business. That's why Facebook is blue, LinkedIn is blue, Twitter is blue. Just talk about utility. You can come and use this. It's a warm and welcoming feeling. Like,
so what would you say Instagram's colors are to do?
Well, Instagram is a weird one because it's meant to be about creativity. Like because it's a gradient and it's not a natural base color. It's like it's trying to invite fun, and just like that, just as it's a gradient, invite color. Yes, it's distinctive now. Like, I remember when they changed it from before, and I looked at the change and I was like, why would you do that? But now I kind of get it, because it's not warm and fun like the Snapchat logo is, but it's trying to say this is a creative space. So like, we can, like, as wacky as we are with our logo, you can be with your creativity using the app.
That's actually mad.
And that's like kind of the translation that comes across, and that's why Artstagram is so big, and Inktober is so big, and like even Orthogram is big, and like models, and like the people that make the most money on Instagram are models. Like, they generate millions of pounds in revenue just by selling ads on their space. So like, you can in essence, it's like you can do anything on Instagram as long as you are the most creative with it. And like, that's the point. Like, and that's just to say there's a point in everything. Like, there's a point of concern when it comes to whenever you're doing something intentionally. But if you don't understand it, then that's when people are going to be speaking to you subconsciously, and you don't know that someone's speaking to you subconsciously. And that's why people get mind controlled and stuff.
Mad.
Yeah. But as you were saying, music language.
Yeah.
And principles.
Yeah, no, it was...
that language.
Because it's just, I'm thinking of, when you find people who they're able to make great music, but they don't have classical training, or they don't even know how to play a piano.
I don't know those people. Who are those people? I need you to name me one. Make great music, like great compositions. I don't know.
Okay, not
yeah. Like, the only person I know is Kanye West.
For example, Dilla.
Huh?
Dilla. Would you say he?
Jay Dilla.
Yeah, Jay Dilla.
He done something with drums that nobody else can, but
exactly, but he didn't know how to play the drums.
Just off drums.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you can be
I guess so. It was mainly his drums, isn't it? That was his thing.
Like, a great player with the MPC, then that's because you learned it so well, but at the same time he learned it in a time where no one was doing that level of creativity apart from even Timbaland, maybe. But it's like, here's the thing though, that's the fault of genius. That's it. It's like, and not everyone is a genius, and not everyone has that level of creativity to do something with that. So you can't offshoot your creativity from his creativity, because he had a mind that came from a place that was understanding something.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, I know there's
if
genius,
he did,
but
just because he did it doesn't mean that you can do it as well.
No.
That means that's the inspiration of the inspiration.
Yeah, but I'm not on that
Where's
level.
The foundation of his inspiration and composition? Where is it? Where did it come from? Because if you don't know that, then you're just gonna be working off his work. You're just gonna be, I just want to do great drums like Tiller, great drums, when there's a wavy drummer who he probably listened to and he wanted to make stuff like that, but he couldn't play the drums or he couldn't afford the drums, and the only thing he could afford was an MPC, and he just wanted to recreate great compositions with those things. And you don't know that. You don't know the drummer he was probably listening to. I don't know I don't know the full story behind why he was so great with compositions, but it's the fact that he had a story behind that, and he was telling something. He was saying something to himself, and he was saying something
and he was trying to
through these compositions.
And because
no one knows. Like, do you actually know the full story?
Because I'm not even talking about. No, I don't. But I'm. That's why I'm not even necessarily talking about the inspiration, so to speak. Yes, but more so, what I'm speaking to is the understanding of the principles.
Yeah.
For example, this guy, I guess so, yeah, because you could still argue we don't know who he was using to build his own principles.
Influence is big for creativity.
And when you do put it like that, even though he's not necessarily able to play the drums, he had an understanding of that language. But it's weird because, for example, as you're saying, which I think to a certain extent is true, there was a certain level of genius he's got in understanding what kind of language he was trying to speak. You know, because I'm talking about that. I'm just talking from the angle of the sort of vocabulary, the sonic vocabulary that you're building, or the visual vocabulary that you're building. You might not necessarily be able to play it like you hear it in your head. You might not necessarily be able to know the notes and the reason why these chords go together in that certain way, but you hear it or you feel it or you see it in your mind, and your ability to translate that regardless of your knowledge of those things, it ultimately defines the way how good you're able to make that thing.
Yeah, see, but this the thing, like, you know, remember when we were in college and it was like we had ideas in our heads, but our hands couldn't do the ideas.
But there's some people who could, for example, Dilla's. Well, Dilla's.
There is nobody.
Yeah, but he's but to say
that.
he's someone you could say that he's had the ability, regardless of whether he can play drums or not. I don't even know if he can play drums.
To be fair, yeah, we don't know that.
We don't know if he can. So, but from what I'm assuming, which is the case.
Let me Google it.
Yeah. It's true. Do you know what? There's no time for assumptions anymore. You got Google in the palm of your hands. Because I say this to my dad. Like, I said this to my dad the other day when I saw him. Like, he asked me something, and it was like, I don't know, but you got a phone that can tell you everything. Like, he asked me something technical. I was like,
what drum is that?
Your phone in your. Okay, so he plays drums.
He can play a drum.
A drum. It's just a snare.
The Dilla feel hip hop. Who's this white guy teaching Jay Dilla? Oh my god! How to play Jay Dilla inspired hip hop beat.
Okay, look. What we need to know is, did Jay Dilla play drums?
Behind the beat with Arthur L.A. Buckner. Lesson 1. The Dilla feel. And this is what I'm talking about.
It's all of that. Have you seen on YouTube? Even with beatmakers, do you know how crazy it is? You can look up now, and to a certain extent, it's cool.
They talk about type beats.
Not beyond that, bro. There's people who are teaching people how to make beats,
okay, wait, 2 seconds.
But it's like how to make beats like this guy, how to make beats like that guy, how to, you know what I mean?
I believe this is him on drums. Jay Dilla, Slum Village. Yeah. This is him.
Is that him?
Drums. I think it is, but I can't see.
No,
his
it's
face.
not him. That's a white guy, bro. Look at his hands.
I didn't even.
You're crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's jokes.
No.
Okay.
So.
Are you sure that's the one guy? Wasn't Sepia Tone? This is so nuts, man. How did he do this? No, I need to know. I need to know now.
Because Questlove, was saying, listening to his beats changed the way I play drums.
Yeah.
That's crazy shit.
Oh, look, yeah. J Dilla can play drums. See, that's the thing. He can play drums. It says it right. Well, to be fair. It like, as you said, Questlove. I believe that J Dilla can play drums. And this proves the point even further. This nigga plays drums. But no one knows how he plays drums. Like, no one, like, we need to know the answers. Like, me personally, just as a creative mind that's also analytical, that just to play, like, because I can use both sides of my brain, I have to be able to care about the thought that goes behind things. I have to. Like, it's somewhat of a purpose of mine to make sure that I understand the back so that I can propel forwards. And
yeah, but that's the interesting thing though as well, because I even think within hip hop, one thing that has made it so potent is because of even inherent in the creation of it, the act of sampling. You're going back into the sounds that have shaped the way music is now. When you're sampling like old soul records or jazz records, and you're going back through the history and understanding, even if it's not like on a technical, okay, this is a 4 3 6 8 times 6, you know what I mean, rhythm. You're not understanding the accent. You're getting a feel for those things by going back into. I guess that's almost what I'm saying. It's like the disparity between the true understanding of what you're doing and absorbing it on at a core level. You know what I mean? Like, almost like when you play a song on piano a certain amount of times, you're going to be able to do that without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? I think that does apply to creativity to a certain extent in the way that you absorb knowledge. Mean? You know? So it's like...
wait, are you saying like, if I am drawing, like if I am copying somebody else's art, I can draw better? Because I know people that can copy perfectly, but you ask them to draw a hand and they can't do it.
Yeah, mad. I know people like that. They will draw the most beautiful copied thing. Like, it's like, yo, you're sick. And you ask them to do it from mine. It's impossible,
They can copy like nobody's business. But when it comes to formal skill, when you have a whole module on drawing hands and feet, and you're asking what the and then you see people who have never been to art school, and then they start drawing hands, and you're like, I could never, I could never release this piece of work if their hands look like that. And then that makes you understand more. It's like, damn, there's more to this than meets the eye. Like, just understanding that, like, understanding people that do all of this hyper-realism, and then it's like, well, back in the Renaissance days, like, they literally done great massive pieces of work that had the best, like, muscle tone, bone, like everything was great back then when they still had to mix paints. But today, now you are copying pictures, doing hyper-realist drawings, thinking it's art and it will sell as art. See, I'm not trying to slag on anyone, but you're not using your mind. This is the thing. You're copying a picture. And if you're copying a picture, then you're not doing art. And that is that on that. Like, the picture is a picture. The picture can be a work of art within itself. But until you can feel something from the part of your mind that doesn't speak very often because you just decided to copy, then you're not filling the world with something useful. And this is the thing, art is utility more times. Art, like, it's not just it's like you were saying with the feeling, like you need it in your, like, someone needs to feel that. Someone needs to be able to feel what you did. And if they can't feel what you did, then you didn't do anything. Like, that's worse than someone thinking nothing of you. Like, someone doesn't think anything of you. They think something of your skill maybe, but they don't feel anything of you. And it's like, they don't like you for anything. They don't like, and it's not even just that, they don't like your work. They don't like it. They can say, oh, this is a really well skilled done piece of,
but they don't like it.
But it's like,
oh, that's
they
mad.
They don't feel
it's
like,
almost like
this is gonna captivate.
Phantom. It's like a phantom almost.
Yeah, it's like it's just it's the weirdest feeling to describe, but it's one of those ones that always, it's like one of those most fearful feelings. You're like, imagine if someone nothinged you. Someone just, you know.
It's almost worse than not being.
Yeah,
like,
if you were
being
disliked,
hated.
Yeah, if you were disliked, at least someone's feeling something. But when you're nothing, like, you don't exist in someone's world. That's what nothing is.
I was gonna take this to a dark place, but I'm gonna avoid doing that.
Like, that's like, and this is the thing: artists need to be known. But where does that feeling come from? Where does that feeling everybody needs to see my work come from? And then. Obviously, yeah, if you can do...
Well, that's why you hear most artists that are, like, fervently, like, chasing something.
Yeah, we're not chasing attention. We're chasing seeing. And not just seeing, feeling. Like you see something in your mind's eye. And then you project that out into the world. But the thing is, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that anymore. A lot of people don't see the thing in their mind's eye anymore. A lot of people just... they take and they don't give to the world.
They're trying to take from what they think. So weird because you're taking from a feeling, and it's so interesting because it's like that thing. It's like when people are like, yeah, it's the type beat thing. It's those tutorials where they're trying to be like, make a beat like 808 Mafia or Mike Will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy because it's just that thing of, I want to be seen and felt the same way that guy's felt.
Yeah.
I want to be seen and felt the way this guy's felt. Like Dilla, I want to be seen and felt like that. But,
yeah. Like, I didn't know that really until, like, and obviously this is why Wiley's the godfather and stuff, and it's like, he done something different. He didn't just continue on with garage. It's like, what you call it? It's a gram, fam. And that is the point. It's like, it's different, and it made sure, and it was made sure to be different, and it was contained and defined until it was defined. So everyone had to make sure that this is gram. This is not like American rap. This does not derive from there. We have our own culture, our own background, our own feeling, and our own history. This isn't us doing this from them. This is us doing it from us. You feel me? And it didn't. And it took years. It took a good 20 years for Americans to understand we're not copying you. We're doing our thing over here, fam. And that's the point. It's like when I keep thinking about when I was younger and I said I don't want to do music. I want to do anything but music, right? I was wondering what brings about that feeling and that thought, and like now at least, because it's not like I can't put out music now if it sounds like something else. And that's not because I want to be different. That's because I want the inspiration to come from someplace. And if my producer, or if I am not producing something that comes from a place that I know is from me, like from me for real, not I want to make a song just as great as this song, but a song like, you know, when someone listens to it, like, because I'm working on, I don't know why I should say this, but I am working on a composition, right? And it's like I swear, yeah,
Like, have you actually been learning to read music?
Yeah, man, for real. So, and that's what I was literally about to say. I was gonna start writing like the sheet music down because like I can't just keep it in my head anymore. I have to be able to write it out because I need like you said, it's a language. I have to and in language you can write something down and someone else can be able to see that I know how it sounds in their head.
It's so interesting because do you know there's this whole thing and to a certain extent it's nice because it's allowed people to make music that otherwise or be open and exposed to music that otherwise would have felt like they weren't smart enough or creative enough, whatever, to make music.
Yeah.
But I also do think there is something to, you don't need to learn an instrument to make music. You don't need to learn how to read music. And I think that is actually quite dangerous because,
I believe that.
Because what's going to happen is, and I think that's the danger of the way like music is now, is that, and why it's nice when there's certain people who are just truly like adept at, because when you hear music like Sir, yeah, who makes simple music,
yeah,
but he is very
intentional.
It's more than intentional. It's intentional because of his understanding of music.
Yeah,
you can hear it in the way the music is made.
Yeah, like
you can hear it.
You can hear that.
You can completely hear it. It's a completely different
ball
game.
He's performing.
It's why
in
people
a way,
like Sir,
and it's like on time. And even though it may break up in certain parts,
it's a feeling you couldn't even articulate unless you made music.
It's like
you couldn't even articulate like, and when I say made music, like the reason I can't articulate it, even you wouldn't even be able to articulate it necessarily if you can, because although music's subjective, there is a certain vibe you hear when someone understands how to make all the instruments go together with like musically. Musically is a completely different thing from making a beat or making something go hard.
No, but here's the thing, like I feel like,
because have you heard? I'm sorry. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a music genre called gabba?
No.
Bruv, it's insane.
It's an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot.
It's an offshoot of an. It's like in the 90s. It was like this weird, the strangest subgenre I've ever come across. I don't know if like the strangest serious subgenre that I've ever come across. It is insane. It's literally, it's like 200 BPM. It's like this just ridiculously super fast house music. And it will just be doing that for like 10 minutes, and there might be a change where there's like a like, and people go to these raves where it's just that, and it's like, you know, with that's a feeling. People get so passionate about that sound. It's like new. It's this weird, like dark, kind of groggy music. But with things like that, it's like that. That's a prime example of when you don't have a. It's not even necessary, because look, I don't understand that music, so I can't say like, oh, I don't like it, so it's shit. Look, musically it is shit. It is very bad music. Like, if you heard it, you would fully understand what I mean. But there's like, you've got innovation where things like that do. Things like the way someone heard jazz record, made it into soul, and then heard soul, and then made it into disco, and then heard disco and made it into house, and then house into garage, and garage into grime, and then grime, like, you know what I mean, and then you got dubstep or whatever. Like, you've got the simplification and almost the iconification of motifs. Yeah, because that's what it is. It's like, it's almost like the same idea of like when you're building a logo, innit? It's like, or an icon for something.
Yeah. It's
like the compression of a simple idea or thing within music. And although it can lead music to a dead end in a way. Yeah. It can lead music to a dead end in a way. It's also needed to make the musicality also form and change, because that's when I was talking about with what the problem was with classical music is because it's so rigid in its way to evolve.
Well,
and I don't necessarily.
I feel like this is it. Yeah, basically, like the reason why I believe that you can make music without knowing instruments, because music comes from inside.
It's a feeling, yeah.
If you have because from even when I was a kid, I had rhythms playing in my head, and it's like it was a real thing. Like I always used to just hear a beat inside my head, like from the beginning, even from when I was dancing and there was no music. Like I would hear where I need to be inside my head first before I heard it anywhere else. And like I feel like classical instrument, because I don't feel like it's, or classical music, I don't feel like it's so it's just got so much depth, and each time as time progresses you're stripping away not just the depth but just the instruments, and and your ability to you strip away the oboes, you strip away like the strings, you strip away all of these other things, and then you start hitting and then you've only got brass instruments left, and it's like, well, not just brass instruments, but you just got simple instruments left, right? You got a keyboard, you got a stand-up piano, a horn or two maybe, and a guitar, and now you got jazz, right? And then you pull it further and it's like, okay, we don't use instruments anymore. We take whatever's here and then we record it, we loop it, and then we make our own things on top of it. And then now you got hip hop. And then it's like that stripping down of whatever was in the past to make something today, right? Like that Gabba thing, it's like you're stripping away like all of the other instruments, and you're keeping it so contained, and like you said, there's a problem with that, because in the end of the day, are you just gonna play one note? Because playing one note is like holding your breath, and it's like you don't, that's not music. And it's like when you strip other things away, other elements away, you're not really playing music anymore. It's like there's this one song that Sir has.
But that's the funny thing is, if music's meant to make you feel, and regardless of how many notes or how musically complex it is, if it's still making you feel something, you've got to be able to call that thing music.
Listen, yeah,
you have to.
Here's the thing. It's like in Africa, right? We have a lot of drums. Drums are well, when I say Africa, I mean Nigeria specifically, and my tribe specifically, Yoruba, right? It's like whenever I listen to my parents' music, Fuji, right? It's there's a lot of drums in there. There's obviously other instruments, but it's like drum based. And from then, when you're tapping something, right, and you're creating a rhythmic sound with it, you are giving something to people. It's the thing. You're giving people the ability to feel, because obviously that's what drums do. Drums make you want to dance, or drums make you want to move in step, and that's why they used it in the army a lot, because it kept everybody in sync. So drums make you feel a certain type of way, and that's why it's so big in Western music today, because not just because of it makes you move. It's not but you can make rhythm with a guitar. You can make rhythm with
but it's the frequencies. You feel it.
Yeah, well,
it's the bass, because most drums are with mid to low range. So you feel a drum,
but that's because of
more than you necessarily hear. You hear it, but you feel it just as much as you.
This is part of the history thing that I'm doing, which is I'm working before I start writing about music properly. I want to write about classical things and understanding things. So there's not there's a reason why every black person black people were taken to the Caribbean, and we didn't have animal hides like that, so someone took a sheet of metal and made the steel drums. And I asked myself, why is that? Like, why would someone like find a sheet of metal and then make a drum out of it? Like, no, because that's like this is the point about this, like, this is the point of creativity. That's the point I'm trying to get to. It's like, yeah, you can strip everything away, and as long as other people feel stuff, you can call it music. But it's that creativity is like, why would you have, like, someone had such a proclivity to drum sounds that even though they didn't have the animal hide to cure and to make a drum, they took a sheet of metal, which probably in the beginning was a piece of scrap metal, and they started banging it with I don't know what that mallet is.
Each way, like,
yeah, and that gave something to a people. Like, and that's how things start. And like, before the sound systems was there, before electricity, is like, you have the steel drum, you create an instrument out of a piece of sheet metal. And like, my mind just takes me to places when I think about that. And like, why is it that hip hop samples every other thing bar the drums? Like, like all the great producers.
No, they sample the drums.
No, well, they sample the drums, but I'm talking about all the great producers start with drums. Like, from Swiss Beats, you hear that knocking sound.
It's funny though, Kanye
Timbaland
said drums were his biggest weak point.
Yeah.
That's what he said himself.
Yeah. He said like Dilla's inspired him and whatnot. But it's like, here's the thing, it's like Kanye is just a different story. I don't like, because we can really get into the mind of Kanye, and
yeah, he's a different
like he's just a different beast, and it's like.
But when you're talking about beat makers,
yeah, it's
because
like,
it's beats, isn't it?
And like Pharrell obviously had that dum dum dum, and his song will come in, and it's like, I just wonder.
Pharrell's a weird one as well though, because he's very musically. He understands music.
Yeah,
he understands.
That's what they did in like, Virginia. Like, they would make music like that, and that's the thing about Virginia there.
Yeah, but the thing is, because it's a bit different, because not that.
No, because he had someone that came in from the guy. Who's the guy's name?
Chad Hugo.
No. The guy before, like the guy that was not Motown. Who's the inventor of New Jack Swing?
Oh, you're right.
When you have someone like that,
are you talking? This guy was with Timbaland.
He came there and they were all in like this area. Missy.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. There was in the house. Did you you read his book, innit? His
no, like I've like Pharrell's like just.
Oh, you talking about Pharrell and Timbaland?
I'm talking about both of them. Like they are just so interesting to me to understand when you have to deal with the things of the times, when you have to start dealing with gangsters and drug dealers, and to make your music you have to be financed by these people that have the money to buy your equipment for, and it's like you're in basements with people with guns, and you're making music for them, and it's like this weird thing, and like no matter what, you don't care because you're in your creative element. But it all starts with a person that came and gave you that chance in the beginning, and gave you like a foundation, and like not just a foundation, but it's not just of him, it's of music. And then you took that to a different space. Like, what Pharrell and Timbaland make isn't New Jack Swing. It's like something else. And what Kanye West makes is something else. And it's like, obviously, he comes from the gospel background and stuff. And it's like, you just... See, this is why music is such an interesting conversation. And it's like, unless you understand all of that stuff, like... not just the context of the time, but the philosophy of someone that's a creative mind like that, and they are doing something that's different. Like, when someone's doing something different, it's like, no, it's literally the most head scratching thing to me. It's like, in those conditions, like me, I'm in a luxury position, right? And I make music and I'm a creative because I can be, and well, it's the only thing that I can be also in it. But it's like, when you're in that condition, like, what is that? Like, what brings about that? And like, that's, see, and this is the thing, like, unless you understand that, you're not going to be asking them. You're not going to be asking Pharrell, Timbaland, and Kanye West those type of questions. Like when you're working with like real gunmen that are just happen to make music as well, it's like you're a different type of person, basically. Like obviously my music, it comes from the infinite substance and it comes from the pain of life, but it's like, what is that? Like, because my music obviously derives from a place that I understand, but what is that? What is making and surviving from people who live that way? It's like, and it's like the early days of grams. It's like, you would do the basement set, you would like hold the cloth over the microphone so it doesn't fall apart, and they would like they would put a rubber band over the neck of the microphone so that it holds the two together, and it's like, and you're on pirate radio, and then like police will raid the spot if like they found you, and all, like, they did something. They did something. And that's why I say, like, the originators of grime and all of this type of stuff, it's like, today, who's willing to do that? Like, are you willing to do that for your creativity? And that's literally what you gotta ask yourself. It's like, are you willing to do what Wiley done? Like, are you willing to take it all around Europe and the world? It's like, I don't think a lot of people are. Like me, I'm insane. If there was no music, I would be like, I can do it, and I would do everything in my power to do it. In my way, obviously. I don't know whether I could have done it in that way, but I would have done it in my way. Like, just as I'm doing right now, it's like, people say the writing space is oversaturated, having your own blog or website is like oversaturated, and like black writers aren't really listened to, and all of these other things. But I say, this is my thing, man. Like, this is what I can do, and this is what I know what to do, and I'm good at this thing, and I'm gonna do it to the ends of the earth. Why? Because I can. And that's what I talk about when I talk about luxury. It's like the ability to, and bar luxury, it's like the ability to survive while doing. It's like, I'm coming out with a book, and this isn't just a book. This is my opener. This is fam.
Start at the beginning.
Wait, let me see what.
First steps.
This is my self-reliance. Ralph Waldo Emerson is one of my favorite essay writers, right? Like, self-reliance is literally one of my favorite essays to read, listen to, everything. But that's what my first book is. It's my self-reliance. It's that thing right there, self-reliance. But I didn't make another self-reliance. I made something of me, from my space, from my mind, from my life experience. And this is the thing, like... So
okay, you done it yourself, but... See, where would you say the inspiration stopped? Because you can say...
What do you mean?
Was inspired by him to a certain extent. I wasn't
inspired by him. It's like, how can you call something like, this is a small book, and self-reliance is only half of it, right? And these are big words on a page. This is like 12 point, maybe a 13 point. So this is an essay. This essay has a minimal amount of words. My book has more words than Self-Reliance does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. It's like, I can do something like this because it can be done. It's like, you are a writer when you are an essayist as well. Like, but I'm not calling myself an essayist. And I'm not calling myself an author, and I'm not calling myself these things. Like, I create because I can. And my inclination allows me to, and my creative genius allows me that response. And because of my creative genius, I'm given the ability to, and I see it as my responsibility to do, because I can see things in a different way. And that's the point. It's like, not just because I can, but because whatever is out there isn't out there in the way that it should be. And not to say that that thing is wrong, but there's a this way to do it. So I'm looking away from what everybody else is doing right now, and I'm doing it in my direction, so to lay a pathway, and a distinctive one that is so, like, if you're a fashion writer, you stick to fashion. If you're a lifestyle writer, you stick to lifestyle. If you're a reviewer, you stick to reviewing. And like, or you start a YouTube page and all of these other things. Like, if you're gonna write scripts or do any of these things, you start a YouTube anyways. But me, I said I can do all of those things because I am that type of person that can do all of those things. So I'm going to do all of those things, and it's going to be of me. That's the point. It's like, you can and you do because you can. And when you have that level of like non-fuckery, because all the fuckery is like you are at a 10 and the fuckery is at like a 6, right? But you hear the fuckery, so it's close enough that you can hear it, but it's too far to even touch what you're even seeing. Because like, when this is a lot of the source given away, but it's like, when you can see, when like me, I can see like at least 10 years ahead. Like, really and truly, I can see about 30, but let's just say 10 years ahead. I can see everything that's going to happen between now and 2029. Like, and I can build, obviously, like, from what we've got here. I understand where it can go. Like our conversation last week, I understand what can happen by 2024 and 2029. And that is in my mind. But like, just from because when we tell the story of us starting in the bedroom, I'm like, and people ask us, did you know it can get to this space? And I'm like, yeah. Well, for me, it's gonna be a yeah, innit? And that is the point. It's like, I want to, and this is harkening back all the way back to what I said before. It's like, I need to know the inspiration for the thing, and I need to know how this thing is done. And without that, I can't give of myself, because like, to be like, I studied writing, but I didn't study just a great essayist. So I studied structure, and I studied how people read, and I studied what styles are out there, and then I use and manipulate all of those to my fancy. And that's like the point. It's like, you don't need to use every single bit and stay in a rigid structure. It's like, you should be creative enough to do anything, because you are anything, and you come from this place, and you do have access to the infinite substance, but it's also if you choose to use it. But if you're copying, you're not using anything.
So do you think most creatives are able to do that then anyway? Would you say if you make things, you should be able to create anything? If you're someone who makes something, you should be able to create anything.
Like, I am a fucking artist. That is what I am. I am this. This is well, it's not all I am. Like, I don't need to be an artist. I could be like people would call me a marketing genius, if that, or people would like we spoke about in the other episode. It's like I was really about to go to LSE. Like I was really about to go to LSE, but I didn't. Like, and when I was like almost down and out, because when we speak about what happened 4 years ago, and like I dropped out of uni, and it's like you could have finished but you didn't, and it's like, what's the point of that? And then now this is the point. Like, obviously dropping out of uni has so much other things around it. It's not because I wanted to drop out and I didn't want to finish. It was because uni was killing me, and I didn't want to die, and I didn't understand that back then, but I did think I was gonna die. And it's like, I understand that I can do anything. I understood that, like, when you have that little grain of sand, that pumpkin seed, when you have, because obviously, like, a pumpkin seed is all you need to sow a dream. There's that saying, right? Like, and it can move a mountain and all of that stuff, and it's like, it's that the faith of a mustard seed, I should say. And it's like, that understanding 4 years ago made me say, if I can learn enough, I can do enough. So, and I learned, like, obviously I started writing 4 years ago, but like, it's not until now where it's like, I've done about 4 years of writing in a year. Like, I've done 200 essays, poems, blogs, and all of that stuff in 1 year. Whereby, like, 200, that's for, like, if you do one every week, that's 4 years worth of work, right? And I know, like, I have at least like 5 years left in me of doing that level, that frequency. So I'm gonna slow it down. Like, I'm gonna stretch it a little bit, maybe 6 years. I'm joking. I don't slow down, but it's the point. Like, that is the point. It's like, you know you can do it, man. Like, you are an artist. It's not just about being a writer. It's about being an artist. Like, I can draw, but I didn't just stick to drawing. I could have put out one drawing, one character every day for the past 4 years if I felt like it, because I'm just want to have that level of drawing, and it would have led to something. Like, if I started back then, 2014, when I knew Instagram was gonna blow up in 2019, like, I knew that stuff. I knew Snapchat was gonna be the thing by 2017, and you should. Oh, it's in your iPhone.
Oh, it's me.
Oh,
it's my headphones.
Mud. Yeah. So like, when you know, like, well, it's the thing. It's like, the question should be, does everyone know that they can do anything that they feel like? Does every artist know that? Like, and all you need to do is understand structure sometimes. Like, you don't need to do everything, but when you're creatively inclined like that, like, you don't just think of a song, you think of a music video, you think of all of these other things and all of these other visual elements that go with it. So it's like, you're not just thinking about songwriting, and you're not thinking about just song structure and all of that stuff. You're thinking about everything after you finish the song. So that is that creative inclination. It's like,
yeah, there's something to that. There's like, that's something you can tap into. It's the same thing as like when writers or film producers also become directors, or vice versa.
I had no idea these were Bluetooth.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Why is that funny?
Nah, I just didn't know.
Oh, I love them though, man.
They look cool.
They're hard, like.
But yeah,
they're quite expensive, though. Just whereas I had to swing. Tate didn't want them. She was gonna sell them.
So you just took up for a...
No, but I gave her some money. I gave her like 40 quid.
What? Fam, if my sibling didn't want something, I'm taking it, fam.
Nah, but I gotta give her a little bit of dough.
No, I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. But okay.
You're not joking. I know you're not joking.
They don't know that.
But yeah, no, man. It's like it's true, and I think sometimes you.
Do you feel you could do anything?
That's a sticky question, man. You're putting me on the spot right now. Like, you can't be asking me questions like that on a podcast.
No, but yeah, do you think you can do?
Do you know what? Yeah, it's like I feel like creatively I can. I feel like I have the capacity to make whatever, because I do that.
Have you filled that cup?
Have I filled that cup? No, because do you know why? Because
you have the capacity,
I get frustrated because when also there's something to put in a certain amount of time into certain things, because look, everything is always a balance of time, yeah, and the amount of, because the more time you put into something, the better you're going to be at that thing, right? Yeah. We can all agree on that. And when you want to flesh something out, it's like that conversation we was having before, when we had all these ideas in our head, but we didn't have the actual skill set to be able to pull these things off. You don't always have, when you've got an idea, you don't always have the whole skill set of the thing that you're trying to do. So there's a certain level of amount of time. There's a certain amount of time you need to be able to do to get to a certain level with certain things, and then also to surpass that and become good enough for the level of work that you want to produce that thing of, you need to spend even more time. So that's why when you're collaborating, you've got a team of people who are, look, I think in my mind, you've got your like people's skill sets are almost like you've got a main skill that you're good at, then you've got the sub skills that support that main skill, or not necessarily support that main skill, but they're things you can do and you can do good enough that it supports the main thing, like, well. Do you get what I mean? I think I do. So in my mind, like,
to me it's a yes or no question, but okay.
Because I've answered it, but I'm giving the context of it. I think I can do anything, but when it comes to a certain level of being like, okay, look, I'm not going to be able to produce a song to the level of Timbaland. Hold up. To the level of Timbaland. And look.
Wait, did you say to the level of Timbaland?
Hold up. I haven't finished what I'm saying. Okay. Produce a song to the level of Timbaland. Yeah. Write the song to the level of who can I think of? A great songwriter.
Stevie Wonder.
Okay, yeah, Stevie Wonder. Write the song to the level of Stevie Wonder. Play all the instruments to the level of Stevie Wonder on there. Then when it comes to the music video, produce it to the extent of Quentin Tarantino, and then, you know what I mean, etc., etc. Like, and that's not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, because it's not about the pieces; it's about the whole. You get what I mean? And
I'll tell you what I think about that.
This is the way I view it, like just the framework. And even though you're not able to do all those things to that level of ability, it's not about the pieces, it's about the whole. So your ability to do all these sub things and then your main thing and how it's supported, yeah, the ability to do that makes the whole of thing of what you have produced great. You get what I mean?
Yeah. My only problem with that is in practice, you're comparing yourself to others, not just skill levels, but finances and ability and resources. It's like, and I can't do that. I can only work at my resources in this current space and time that I'm in. And for my creative ability, time and space is my plaything, right? It's like when you're an artist,
because I'm talking about strictly ability when I say that. I'm not talking about level of success, by the way.
No, I know, obviously I know you're not talking about that.
I'm talking about level of ability.
But those people have, like, everybody started from someplace, right? Everybody started from someplace, and the funny thing is, you're talking about people that came from the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. So it's not like they didn't always have it in them. They did have it in them.
But my point is, most of these people, they have picked one thing that they have solely focused, pinpoint, pricked on.
That's because they only could do that thing.
I get it. That's my point. But
they could only
within that thing got to a certain level and standard.
I promise you, yeah.
You get what I mean? Because of the amount of time. It's a time thing. Time is the currency in which you spread across the things that you do. And the more currency you're putting into one space, it's going to get bigger.
Well, that's a philosophy that I don't ascribe to. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because time is my plaything. And here's the thing. When you are... Because here's the most important thing. When you are struck with an absurd amount of inspiration, you can create with a speed and a frequency and a quality level that is unbeknownst to you. That is only at and that's your most inspired moments. And that's why a lot of people only work from inspiration. But to me, inspiration...
Wait, say that bit again. When you can only work from your most inspired... So you said some people
only work from that space.
Okay, where they're at their most inspired.
Yeah, and that's a sporadic place. Like, you can't work from that space. You and here's the thing, I work from that space. However,
you also have something else that you tap into.
I have a structure. This is the most important thing. This is the article even I wrote yesterday. Grinding and hacking, right? Grinding. Well, actually, let's start with hacking. Hacking is the big chunks of creative things. Hacking is like an article. Hacking is like my book. Hacking is like those things, right? And then grinding is and hacking is like the big picture things that overarcs everything, right? So, and they're both at equal levels of importance, because I don't work at order of magnitude. I work at peak performance. So that needs to be at its best, right? At the best that is of the level that you can do. And that is perfectly fine. When something is at the best that you can do, people will be totally fine with that, because they know you've reached a level. It's like whenever someone hits their personal best in the gym, you don't say, I had never lifted like Arnold or one of these Olympic weightlifters. You done your best. You done your greatest work right then and there. True. So that's hacking. Grinding is the day-to-day. So it's like making a blog cover, making a structure, making like doing the campaign, making a post on Instagram, making a post on Facebook, making a post on Twitter, making a post on LinkedIn, and doing all of that type of stuff, just so that everything is in order and a frequency that you can see, and that picture is complete, right? That's grinding and hacking. So it's like working at peak performance on all things and making sure each individual thing is the best, as well as the thing that the big picture thing that it was around. So let's say is it like let me not go into science things. Like, it's like being a lumberjack. So hacking is chopping down the tree, grinding is taking off the bark, shipping it to a location, taking it to the factory, and making pieces of paper from it. That is like the plain and simple difference between the two, right? Both as important as the other. Like, you can't do one without the other. And when you are at a certain level and you're working at your best, one day you can do 12 trees, the next day you can probably do 100 trees, and they are chopping trees at an alarming rate since the inception of chopping down trees to make paper. Like, this is the thing. Like, Coca-Cola didn't have a factory before. Like, and Ford. He never... Is it Harrison Ford?
No, that's the actor.
Whoever his name is. The racist, right? The racist one. he started with a couple cars in the automated mill. But when you're able to be at peak performance on each individual thing and you understand the whole theme of it, it's like me right now, big announcement. I sent my book off to the distributor, so
boom,
we are locked in. Okay, we are locked in. Typos, don't even talk to me about typos, fam. Yeah, but generally, the book is sent away.
Dead.
I done my cover, everything, right? But also, I had to do invites. I had to send invites. I had to make a guest list. I had to look for a location for the launch. I had to do all of these things, and I had to make sure that everything was on point, right? Not just from the book level, not just from a chapter level, not just from an essay level, but everything across the board was the best that I could possibly do and the best that I know how to do. That's peak performance. I'm not looking at Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'm not looking at Will Durant. I'm not looking at Jordan Peterson. Who else is on my bookshelf? Benjamin. I'm not looking at Benjamin Graham. I'm not looking at Napoleon Hill. I'm not looking at anyone, right? I'm not looking at Ben Franklin, right? I'm looking at me. What can I do to the best of my ability at the highest frequency and highest level that I could possibly do in this year? And it's not just write one book. It's I wrote multiple essays. I wrote multiple articles. I wrote dissertations, really and truly, like genuine ones as well. So it's like, that's the best I can do this year. And that's not even the most, because it's not just about writing. It's about peak performance. It's like everything else. Like, how many places can I post? How many places can I be? How many places can people see me? How many ways can I show this work off? So it's not just about the writing. Like, because I could have dropped an article every day, like I am doing now in Prime Night, but I could have done that back then, like when I noticed that I could do that. But I didn't, because the important part is the performance of everything, of me as an artist.
As a whole, yeah. Because
I done mad, bare complex covers. I done bare editorials. I done mad typography, made logos, done cover art, done all of these things, paid for a lot of stuff that you just pay for in logistics. Started a business account. I got my business card. Like, it's a Mazzoline. Like, yeah, I've done everything. Like, Mazzoline pasta panini. You feel me? So, like, I'm like, you don't think, like, could Ralph Waldo Emerson do that?
Don't know.
Exactly. Can Will Durant do that? Can Jordan Peterson do that? We know for a fact he can't, because he hasn't. Right? He can't, because all he can do is write and speak. But me as an artist, I can perform at a high level, and in my best work, I am doing things that other people can't do, because I understand the points that I can access for myself. No, I don't own a distribution plant, but guess what? I can pay someone to distribute it for me, but that's the only thing I'm paying for. I've done everything else by myself. Edited, formatted, cover art, like it's everything. It's like nuts. It's like a nuts amount of work for one person.
The most important thing is the product.
It's not even just about the product. That's the thing. It's like about what is your best today. Do you know that? Like, that's why I asked you, have you filled the cup? Like, what is you at the maximum capacity of output, and you accessing all the points of your creativity? Like, what is that this year? When you find that out, you can try and double it next year, or you can try and replicate again next year. And then when you have a nice couple of years of doing that, putting out work at not even a high, it's not about frequency, but it's about the quality that you can put out, and that is your thing, right? And then you can say, okay, so this is what I can do, this is my level, all right? So now you can create something more. Like I didn't start my blogs knowing exactly what each one was. I just wrote what I needed to write. Like, it was fashion and then life, fashion and then life. And then it's like, wait, this is an essay that ties to the other essay and ties to this part, and then like this is a thought of mine, and this is a dialogue that I'm starting that's spanning over a period of time. And whatchamacallit, this is about the best trainer that I've seen come out this month because of the other blogs that I wrote, Most Sneakers, More Problems. And I wanted to not just talk about the bad, but I wanted to highlight the best things that come out in the year. And it's like, you can do that. Like, you can make sure that you have those things. But it's like, do you not like? And then now I'm doing want to wear, like that's a new line that I come out with. And then now I'm doing Black Renaissance, and now I'm doing Rhyme and Reason, which was the name of my book that I can reveal now, but it's not the name of my book. So, but I knew these things, or I was doing these things time ago, but they tie up from time ago to today. And that is the picture of evolution. So when you scroll down my feed, you can see, he really did start from this place, from screenshotting the blogs on his back office and post them on IG, to now he's making massive poster boards on Instagram. And now you see the tapestry, and now you're weaving your own tapestry of creativity. So it's so like, my mind isn't from what this guy is doing over there, is from what like in my space, with my skill level, with this body, what can I perform at? Where's my best performance today? This is my best performance today. This is the most work I've done in 1 year that I've put out, because that's the major point. It's like that I put out. It's like I've done a lot of work in a lot of other years, but I just haven't put that stuff out. But these things I've put out for sure. For sure, as long as there's internet, you'll be able to see those. I still need to print out my articles, but that's the point.
And with that, I had to cut this guy off sometimes, because otherwise he'd just talk.
I will.
Because what he does this thing, where he'll say, like, he's about to end what he's saying, and what he'll do is then he'll go, and that's because this thing. Because you see, what happened is
there's a lot of context.
He
that goes
segues himself. He segues himself.
Anyways,
but it's good. The more words,
I've stepped
the more
away
content.
from the mic.
Okay, so with that, guys, thanks for joining us on another episode of Culture and Camaraderie podcast with Tiberius and
Damadici.
Yeah, the Squaw. Please follow us, like and subscribe on the YouTube, Instagram, at Camaraderie Pod. Start if you want to engage with us a little bit, give us some of your opinions on the things that we've talked about, so we can have a bit of back and forth. Just like get into it a little bit more.
Hashtag booyah
Booyah base. This is definitely going to be a thing now.
Booyah base.
But yeah, look,
that is gonna be your drop, and
have a blessed week. Have a good Monday. Do your thing, guys. Nice one.
Blessings, peace, and salutations.